Dragway, preparations are underway for the 10th running of the AC Delco Southern Nationals. But there's one trailer missing on pit road and one thought on everyone's mind: the condition of top fuel driver Darrell Gwynn, injured in a racing accident in England last weekend. Gwynn was participating in an exhibition race at the Santa Pod Raceway in Bedfordshire, England. Driving his 1989 Gator Nationals winning top fueler, Gwynn was on a solo run when the car suddenly veered hard to the left, striking the safety barrier and breaking into 3 pieces, severely damaging Darrell's left arm and traumatizing his spinal cord. Gwynn was removed from the wreckage and taken to Aylesbury's Stoke Mandeville Hospital, one of Europe's leading facilities in dealing with serious spinal injuries. Patient Services Officer Sue Hugel issued this brief preliminary assessment of Darrell's condition.
Darrell Gwynn is a patient here at the National Spinal Injuries Centre at Stoke Mandeville. He is suffering from serious spinal and arm injuries. Although stable, the doctors are concerned about the condition of his left arm.
The damage to Darrell's arm was so severe that on Thursday, doctors amputated the limb below the elbow. The degree of permanent paralysis caused by the neck and spinal injuries, if any, is yet to be fully determined. But Darrell's father, Jerry, reports that Darrell is showing a positive attitude.
He's in very good spirits. He's very alert, and he wishes he'd be in Atlanta this weekend.
The cause of the accident is currently under investigation by the RAC, the Royal Automobile Club, England's major sanctioning body.
The big help these days is the television and the videos that are taken of it, which you can see the thing in real time, and then you can slow down and do a frame-by-frame analysis.
NHRA experts, who are more familiar with top fuel dragsters and their British counterparts, have extensively examined the crash footage and reached this conclusion.
The cause was a separation of the driver's compartment, the front of the race car, from the driveline components due to a frame rail breakage. Exactly which rail broke is undetermined at this time. The Royal Automobile Club in Britain has done an in-depth study. They have confiscated the car and the remaining pieces. We're working with them on a daily basis. We're on the phone in contact with them, and when that study is completed, we will be getting a final report.
So the information on Darrell Gwynn is that his left arm has been amputated below the elbow. His spinal cord was not severed, however, did sustain substantial damage. It is too early to tell, because of associated swelling, whether any paralysis will be permanent or not, and what parts of his body might be affected.
I'm overwhelmed by all the support and concern and that we've gotten here, and I know we're at the best place we can be, and we are so comforted by all the concern of all our friends and fans and all the letters that we've received and the cards and the flowers. I would say that's what's keeping us going, and we miss everybody back home.
Without a doubt, the entire NHRA family is praying for Darrell's health, and friends and fans can extend their best wishes by writing to the hospital at this address: Stoke Mandeville Hospital, Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire, England. The postal code is HP 218AL. Current reports say that Darrell Gwynn may be hospitalized in England for between 4 to 14 weeks. NHRA Today will keep you up to date on details as they become available during the coming weeks.
NHRA Today is being brought to you by Firestone, makers of Firehawk Performance tires for the street, the track, and the strip. Tires that meet the test. And by Castrol GTX, the motor oil that provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown.
Over 100 displays and exhibits are being erected here at the AC Delco Southern Nationals. It's called the Manufacturer's Midway, and you'll find it at all NHRA national events. Fans are welcome to tour through here and see up close the parts and pieces that drag racers use for that quicker elapsed time. But for those with a more mechanical bent, there's a brand new course being offered at the Frank Hawley Drag Racing School that will give them a viewpoint of the sport from a crew member's standpoint.
To a race car driver, the run down the quarter mile may seem to be over in the blink of an eye. But to his crew members, that time between rounds may seem to pass just as quickly. You'd be hard-pressed to find any other situation where so much is done in so little time. Quick decisions and minute adjustments made in the pit pressure cooker could mean the difference between a finish line victory or a split-second defeat. The tremendous burden of testing and troubleshooting rests on the crew chief's shoulders. He and his teammates are responsible for the car's maintenance, safe operation, and on-track performance. It's not a skill that comes easily. It takes years of hard work and dedication to gain the knowledge and experience necessary to command a professional racing team. One way to start on that road to the pros is the mechanics course offered at the drag racing school in Gainesville, Florida. World champion driver Frank Hawley founded the driving school in 1985 and added the mechanics course this year.
Well, we thought it would be a natural evolution from the driving program because there's so many people out there in the country that really want to learn more about these race cars and find out some of the special parts on them and how they're adjusted.
The three-day course is the first of its kind, and it covers a wide range of topics, both in the classroom and on the track.
Well, the first day, what we do is start out with basic four-stroke engine theory because everything that you do on that race car is going to depend on your understanding of four-stroke engine operation.
On day two, the curriculum becomes a little more complex as students learn about fuel systems, clutches, ignitions, and transmissions.
I've never had so much information thrown at me in such a short period of time. Luckily, I've got a good background, and I understood basically what all he was saying.
Aside from the nuts and bolts, the students also learn about the business side of the sport.
There's just a whole lot more involved in working on these cars or driving them than most people would think. We talk a lot about crew organization and how to best utilize the time, and we spent some time talking about sponsorships as well because that's a very misunderstood part of the sport.
It's very beneficial if you're going to try to become a crew chief or an owner, or if you're going to try to gain sponsorship. It's very good for that. They give all the information a person should need.
On the third day, the real hands-on challenge begins. After a written exam, the students are divided into teams and pitted against each other in a simulated between-round session.
They have to disassemble parts of the engine and reassemble them, set the timing, set the valves, get the car back on the ground, and this teaches them obviously organizational skills, teamwork, and they're going to have to be pretty good with their hands too.
The students are graded on their speed, accuracy, and teamwork. Most felt the test was a good gauge of their performance and skills.
It was very intense. They crammed it to us real fast, and you had to really stay with it, but it's really remarkable how good it is. The on-hands experience has really made it worthwhile.
If you can't handle the pressure, you're not going to do well. And if you can't handle the pressure here, you're not going to be able to handle the pressure at the racetrack under racing conditions.
Well, David Gramlich is about to find out if he's up to the pressure of big-time drag racing. He's been hired by the top fuel team of Gene Snow. Now, while Frank Hawley stresses that he does not guarantee job placement, what you learn in his course would be invaluable if the opportunity ever does present itself. Now, it's always important for these crews to make the car go faster, but it's also very important to be able to slow it down. Big Daddy Don Garlitz is a few trailers up to take a look at some new technology in high-speed braking. Don?
In drag racing, the quest has always been for more speed, but you have to stop these vehicles somewhere. And with most of the drag strips being constructed in the late 60s and early 70s when the speeds were down, what were we going to do when the speeds came up so dramatically? Well, NHRA mandated that we have dual chutes. That was good for a while, but as the cars approached 300 miles an hour, we had to have more stopping power. And here on Shirley Muldowney's car, we see the latest innovation, carbon fiber rotors and carbon fiber pucks. This came from the aircraft industry. It is a system that the hotter the brakes get, the more stopping power you need. And that's just what we need because the cars are stopping just fine on these older drag strips.
It's up to the drivers to get their cars stopped, but it's up to that man, Buster Couch, to get things started. Buster! Buster has been triggering the tree since 1963. And don't you know, over the years, he has seen some fascinating starting line shenanigans. Well, like the Pro Stock semifinal right here at the Southern Nationals a year ago. It was Bob Glidden against Larry Morgan.
The Ford and the Oldsmobile. And they both had a little thing, I think, before they got to the land, which one was going to stage first, or what. Actually put the pre-stage light on. So they just playing games, which they didn't need to, you know. They get a little stubborn. So they sit there a while with a pre-stage light on, and neither one of them wanted to do when I motioned them. So I just backed them both up. All of a sudden, I think it was your people come flying over to the cars with them boom mics and all. I said, uh-oh, I got to be careful what I say. And I caught them, so I just opened Glidden's door and asked him, I said, a little hot, isn't it? And I said, are you sweating in there? Do you need to get a drink of water and get settled down, or you want me to do something for you? And by the time I got to Morgan, they said he was scared to death because he knew he was going to be disqualified. And so I told him the same thing. And I told him, I said, but don't let Glidden intimidate you. I said, don't stage first. I wouldn't. You know, I told both of them the same thing. Don't stage first. And by the time I motioned for them, they can run over me getting into the lights. But I understand they got to the back end of the track, but I was safety crew down there. One of them jumped out and ran to the other car, and they thought they was going to have a good fight down there about it. So the other one watched him and said, well, what did he say to you? So the other one told him, they got out of the car and started laughing. So they sit down for 5 minutes. But I've never had any more problem out of those two for some reason.
Buster Couch has indeed seen it all. Coming up on NHRA Today, we'll introduce you to Larry Miner, the farming baron who owns drag racing's largest professional operation. Stay with us. You know, hopping around this racetrack can make a man powerfully hungry. So I stopped off at the concession stand for a little bite to eat. I think my choice of snacks is very appropriate because just last weekend, Division 6 Sportsman racers kicked off their season in Idaho. Pretty bad, huh? You haven't heard the worst yet. This is Evans. Our reporter, the man who brings us the results from the battle in Boise, is none other than Bob Fry. Robert?
To look at the crowd in the grandstands, you might expect this to be spring break in Florida instead of the Division 6 Easter Bash at Firebird Raceway in Boise, Idaho. Unusually high temperatures and the thin northwest air posed problems for most of the racers. But experienced veterans like Superstock winner Jeff Lane on the left rose to the challenge.
Oh, it was kind of a tricky track because of the hot weather and the altitude you have to race at. It makes it a little tricky on your dial-ins and things, but all in all, it was a good race.
Here are other winners from Firebird. In the fastest race of the day, Cruz Pedregon in the near lane powered to a strong early lead over Bucky Austin and held on to that advantage to the finish. But the win was not an easy one.
You had to, in my terms, thread the needle. It was a driver's track. You had to kind of find out where the car was making power and shift at those points and just kind of baby the car down the track, so to speak.
Cruz Pedregon's knowledge of babying race cars stems almost from his infancy. His father, Frank Pedregon, raced in the nitro classes back in the 1960s and became known as the Flaming Mexican for his ability to set his spinning tires ablaze.
When he raced, we were just kids kicking tires and being in the way and stuff. And as soon as I got old enough, I started to realize what racing was all about, and then, you know, it rubbed off on me and I had to do it.
Like his father, Cruz has built quite a reputation wheeling both dragsters and funny cars. Last year, he won 2 divisional and 2 national events driving Gary Turner's top alcohol dragster. But the highlight of the year was winning the 2nd annual Winston Showdown at Houston. And to show that that win was no fluke, he repeated the performance at this year's event behind the wheel of Shane and Don Gay's new car. But that was only a temporary return to the rear engine ranks. Cruz's 1990 deal is to race the Minor Brothers funny car Thunderbird.
I feel that my dragster experience is helping me in the funny car. Things that I've learned in the dragster through the years, I would say the dragster is like watching a 50-inch big screen TV versus a funny car watching a 10-inch TV and having somebody standing right directly in front of it, which in the funny car is the injector, the motor.
Whatever the view, Cruz Pedregon hopes to see his way clear to a Winston World Championship. For NHRA Today, I'm Bob Fry.
Castrol presents the GTX Pipeline, the latest news from the world of drag racing.
Another top alcohol dragster driver and former rival of Cruz Pedregon is Blaine Johnson. Now, Blaine's Oldsmobile-powered car has won 2 national titles and 4 divisional events this year alone. NHRA, in an effort to keep parity in the class, is taking a very hard look at the Johnson combination.
Yeah, they trying to slow us down a little bit by putting some more weight on us right now, but we're going to see how it works. We're trying to see what it's going to do with our car, what we have to change when we do put the weight on.
How much weight are we talking about?
It's about 70 pounds.
Can you deal with that?
We're going to have to. It's just one of those things. A lot of people are screaming a little bit because we've been going so fast and dominating. So they felt they had to do something, and I can't blame them for it.
Did you ever dream about attacking the quarter mile in a real competition vehicle? Well, that dream could come true if you're one of the 5 winners of the Castrol GTX Drag Racing School Sweepstakes. In association with the Chief Auto Parts Mid-South Nationals in Memphis, May 3rd through the 6th, Castrol is providing full tuition and travel to the school in Gainesville, Florida. Now send your name, address, and phone number on a postcard to this address. It must be postmarked before May 1st, and winners will be announced live on TNN's Nashville Now on May 4th. One of the most popular names around the pro pits is that one right there, Larry Minor. And not just because he owns 3 of the top teams, Dick LaHaye, Ed McCullough, and Shirley Muldowney, but because, as you're about to find out, he's a nice guy.
Larry Minor has always been a firm believer in the work ethic.
Quarter base. Yeah, I'll be out of my car a while at the restaurant, checking these potatoes. My dad had that spirit. You know, he came out here from Texas without 10 cents in his pocket, and he built this empire just from hard work and the desire to do good. So I think that a lot of that was born in me, and it's kind of carried on through the business, and it's carrying on in my racing.
But Minor's no mere gentleman farmer. Typically, he's up at 5 a.m. inspecting his potato crops and overseeing his family's other businesses.
We now run close to 40,000 head of cattle in feed yards and farm 8,000 acres of potatoes and own close to 250 to 300,000 acres of land throughout the western part of the United States.
Minor's love of the land and animals began at an early age, and he maintains that heritage today.
How you guys doing, huh? How you like the alfalfa they give you? Tasting pretty good?
The hills around his ranch are home to a private zoo that offers Minor an escape from the rigors of the business world.
We like animals. You know, we have buffalo around our house. We have the zebras and emus and ornecks and deer, all kinds of wild animals. But the whole family's always loved animals. We're very homey type people, and our family always comes first, and our whole family sticks together. We all live together right on the hill. We've always even put our family first before the business. Our family first, our business next, and then all of our hobbies and toys come after that.
Be it a toy or a necessity, Minor needs his Cessna Citation to stay on top of the vast Minor empire. And today it's off to see the latest member of Larry Minor Racing, 3-time Winston champ Shirley Muldowney test.
I was happy to be fortunate enough I could afford to buy the good equipment, and I was always fortunate enough to surround myself with talented individuals to really help me. I think a lot of it just surrounding yourself with good people to help you, have a successful operation.
He wanted a good team, a crew that could really get the job done, so he hired all of us, including the driver. And that came as a surprise to me, but he is the boss, and what we're concerned with out here is to do the very best job we can for Larry Minor Motorsports and all the people that supported him.
Larry Minor's drag racing team is the sport's largest professional operation. It also includes funny car ace Ed McCullough and 1987 Winston Top Fuel champ Dick LaHaye.
He's got a heart of gold is what he's got. I mean, you can go around and ask racers around the pits who he's helped. I'm not going to name any names, but just, people that he's not even associated with that might have had a little tough time or something, and he'll help them. And he's kept some people going. It's hard to explain because Larry's the type of person that really don't show much emotion. But he is kind of an old softy.
Softy or not, Minor's love affair with the mechanical and his racing successes go well beyond the straight line.
I got a 56 Jeep, and I put a V8 Chevy in it, and then I built a sand dragster and did my sand dragon, and then I built the boats, and we had hydroplane boats we used to drag race. Then I got in the off-road racing. I just enjoyed the driving and competing with other people. Always want to be faster than the other guy.
And proof that he is faster than the other guy can be found in Miner's trophy-lined family room.
I enjoy the people that's around. I've got to meet some really good friends and the competitors. I enjoy the people, really.
It's said you can judge a man by the quality of his actions. If so, then Larry Miner is truly a major human being. For those of you who may have missed it, once again, here is the address for sending well wishes to Darrell Gwynn. And we here at NHRA Today send our best wishes to the entire Gwynn family. For Dave McClellan, Don Garlitz, and Bob Fry, I'm Steve Evans. Thanks for joining us on NHRA Today.
NHRA Today has been brought to you by Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars, and by Firestone, makers of Firehawk performance tires for the street, the track, and the strip, tires that meet the test. Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by this special offer from Diamond P.
For years, you've all loved Diamond P Sports Home Video, Decade of Thrills, the ultimate drag racing experience. Well, I've got some great news. Don Perdomo and I are back with the all-new 90-minute Decade 2, the thunder of the 80s. Eddie Hill cracks the fours, then flies away. Connie Coletta marches past 290. Ed McCullough and John Collins will never forget the Cajun Nationals of 84, nor Kenny Bernstein, Maple Grove, PA, 87. Glidden won his 50th and his 75th in the same decade. Don Gay Jr. survived the unsurvivable. It's all in Decade of Thrills, too. To get your copy, send $24.95 to the address in your screen, or better yet, call 1-800-767-1600. Visa and MasterCard accepted, no CODs. Call now, 1-800-767-1600.
NHRA Today has been a presentation of Diamond P Sports.